What's going on, gamers? RebelX here in the War Room, and today we're looking at Overwatch. We're going to be looking at more characters, starting off with D.Va. Now, D.Va is an excellent character that needs to be placed on the front line. She has a boost ability that's great for catching enemies, especially when they're already weakened, but more importantly, that she has another ability to where she sets up a defense grid in front of her screen that catches enemy shots that blocks them. This is why you want her to be attacking the front lines all the time. When you're in the midst of a battle, use your boost ability to kind of flank the enemy, get around them, and then shoot them from behind. This gives them a chance to scatter, allowing your teammates to move in and capture the objective. Always remember to keep popping your defense grid ability that locks on and blocks all enemy shots, and use this ability quickly for you and your teammates to get the upper hand in the midst of a battle. Now, her ultimate ability is excellent, but leaves you very vulnerable. I recommend using her self-destruct mechanism when you're around enemies, or when, say for example, they're bunched up at a certain checkpoint. The reason why you want to do this, you want to go on a bit of a suicide mission. You most likely will get killed at the end of this because it takes a while for your mech to self-destruct, but once its activated ability pops up, it allows your teammates to move in and take the objective very quickly. So remember, use her self-destruct ability very wisely. Make sure she is constantly on the front lines at all times. Use her defense grid to block enemy shots and constantly support your team moving towards the objective. Now, continuing down this list, let's talk about Reinhardt, one of my personal favorite characters in this game. Now, the great thing about Reinhardt is that he is probably one of the more versatile characters in this game. He can play both offense and on defense very well. Now, quick thing though is that whenever you have a Bastion on your team and you're playing as Reinhardt, get in front of Bastion and use your shield to protect him. This gives Bastion a little extra health in terms of timing for him to get his shots off before he's taken out. This is a great way when you're playing on defense or on offense whenever you combine these characters together. Now, when you are playing as Reinhardt, make sure you close the distance with your enemies. Because he's such a big character, he's an easy target, and it takes a while for him to swing his hammer. Now, one great combination is to use your boost ability not only to lock onto enemies, but to get across the battlefield quickly. Now, when I say by close the distance, try to get enemies within a close proximity of you. Try to get them lured into buildings or around corners, and then use your boost ability to kind of slam them into the wall and take them out quickly. And the moment that they're dead, immediately deploy your shield again and again. This will make you an annoyance to the enemy team. Also, too, it will get the enemy lined up for you to move in and use your boost ability, but my personal favorite is use his special attack. Use his special attack whenever there are enemies grouped up with each other. And then once they're down, use your boost ability to knock them out like bowling pins, and you'll get at least 2 to 3 to max probably around 4 kills. Make sure you put Reinhardt in a nice concealed area. This is a great character to use in timing your attacks, especially when you're on defense. The moment the enemy moves in, use your boost ability to kind of spread them out, pop them out, and then finally use your ultimate attack to take out the rest, and you will kick ass as Reinhardt. Now let's talk about Roadhog. Now, Roadhog is an excellent support class character, another offensive character that needs to be used wisely on the battlefield. Now, one of the key things about him is that he has his own healing factor. But the thing, though, that people have been doing is that they've been trying to rush the enemy by themselves when playing as Roadhog. Don't do this. Instead, wait for your teammates to be around you and then push forward towards the enemy. Close the distance when playing as Roadhog. Just because he has a shotgun doesn't mean that he's able to hit his targets at a medium distance. Just move in quickly and take them out as fast as you can. Now, once you are being supported by your teammates, he is excellent for taking out for crowd control. As you see right here, my teammates are moving forward. We're already thinning out the enemy, and now one enemy is about to pop his ult, but because Roadhog does such heavy damage at close range, I moved in on him quickly and took him out before he could take out any of my teammates. Now, his ultimate ability isn't great. What is great about it, though, is that it does push enemies away from you. It may not kill them, but it's great for pushing enemies away when you're on defense, or if you want to push them over the edge. Another great thing about him is his chain ability. This is great for picking off enemies in the air or enemies that are on the run. Use this ability wisely, but at the end of the day, it does do heavy damage, and once they're in front of you, one shot from your shotgun will most likely kill them. So be prepared for that. But also, too, is that go after the enemy, chase them down, and close the distance, and you will kick ass as Roadhog. Now let's talk about Winston, which in my opinion is the worst character in this game. For those of you out there that are able to make this character work, I congratulate you. You deserve a medal. Because this guy, as cool as he is and as fun as it is to hear him on the battlefield, he just isn't that great. One of his abilities is that he's able to leap forward and do damage when landing next to enemies. But the problem is that this ability doesn't do that much damage and it leaves you vulnerable. The other thing too is that he has an electric gun as his main weapon. But the problem with this weapon is that it has a very short range. And also too is that even when you're locked locked onto an enemy at close distance, if for some reason somehow it's finicky and it just shoots it around the distance. He's great for picking off enemies that are already weakened. His ultimate ability though is excellent as well when trying to thin out the herd. He does have a shield drop area, as you just saw right there, which is excellent when using to kind of shield your teammates as they push forward. Now when using his electric gun, as I said before, make sure you close the distance, but always be sure that you have constant support. He's not meant to be by himself. Now, when you do pop his ultimate ability, go after the healers who are weak and go after characters that have already been weakened and down. But as you can see right here, even so, his ability is not that powerful and he just doesn't pack that much of a punch. So be careful when you're playing as Winston. Last but certainly not least, let's talk about Zarya. Now Zarya is an excellent support class character that can give not only shields to her teammates, but can also shield herself. But her main weapon itself is also a pain in the butt to deal with when you're facing her. Now her main weapon is actually a drill gun. This gun can shoot a straight beam of light that does damage to enemies over time, but also too is that her gun can also shoot a bit of a grenade launch ability, a little ball of energy that hits the ground and does splash damage to all targets hit by it. This is great for using enemies that are running away, bunched up, or doing the little Mario hopping jump around the battlefield. Now, as I said earlier, she can give shields to her teammates. When you enter the battle, look for the weakest teammate and hit them with this shield. It gives them time to escape and get to a safe distance. Now, she deserves to be on the front lines at all times, but play as her as you would play like a Genji. Try to flank the enemy and harass the living hell out of them. Give your shield to your teammates as soon as possible, especially your healers who are constantly trying to keep your team alive. And that's the best way to utilize her. Now, the other thing too about her as well is that because she can shield herself, she can be constantly hitting the enemy from a safe distance and constantly trying to harass them. So as I said earlier, if you've ever played as a Genji or a Hanzo character and you've constantly been picking off the enemy here and there, this is exactly how you want to play as Zarya. But you also make sure to stay in the proximity of your teammates and constantly give them support at all times. Now, her ultimate ability allows her to shoot a black hole that opens up and sucks in all enemies in this area. This ability is fantastic when enemies are grouped up with each other when they're trying to push the objective down the lane. I recommend popping that right when the enemies all close in together and have your teammates just throw everything they got in there. Even when the enemies die, not by your hand but by your teammates, you still get the kill points either way. Alright gamers, hope you enjoyed this quick look at Overwatch Gameplay Tips and Tricks Part 3. We're going to be doing another video on these characters very, very soon. Until then, we'll see you guys next time here in the War Room.